right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Collectors of the World. This is episode 5, and I am finally joined by Mega Mike, the movie man, on one of these things. What's going on, Mike? It's been a long time coming, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
should have had you on a long time ago.
I feel like I've known you for so many years now.
Well,
We've
you've
been
been
on
on several
live streams
roundtables, so
before,
it's
yeah.
like I always I used to have a thing back in the day. I wouldn't have somebody on the round table until I did World's Biggest Collectors. But by the time I knew you and met you, I had abolished that role. And then I just ended up having you on the round tables, I think, pretty consistently. So it like felt like I had you on World's Biggest Collectors before because you had been on the channel a few times by then.
Yeah, and you've been on my channel as well, so it's like we've known each other for so long. But
Yeah,
now,
with the official
yeah,
one-on-one with Mega Mike. I'm excited for this, Mike, because
me,
I've been, I've known you for I'd say what 2 years now,
yeah,
maybe a
just
little bit
a
longer
little
than
bit
that.
more than 2 years, yeah.
I've been watching you, checking you out, your live streams and stuff. You've been very consistent on your channel. You've done a great job. So I'm excited to dive into the psyche of what makes Mega Mike the movie man tick as a collector and an online YouTube personality. And did you notice I got a superhero on my TV in the back?
Ooh, Superman. That's
Themed
awesome. I like that.
themed for Mega Mike. I don't know if Christopher Reeve's Superman is one of your favorite superhero movies, but
Oh, Superman the movie's great. That's one of the best superhero
okay.
movies of all
Okay.
time. So good
Yeah, I
choice.
put Man of Steel in first, but I never know like what the title card's gonna be because that's very important. Because if it starts moving and showing clips from the movie, then my video is gonna get like demonetized. So I try to pick one with a still image, and if it's like playing, I'll try to like half tilt it. Anyway, that's too much behind the scenes information. Mike, let's give you the opportunity to promote yourself in your channel real quick, and I will have all your links down below so everybody can subscribe if they haven't already. I'll have your YouTube, I'll have your Instagram, I'll have all this stuff, TikTok, whatever you're on, it'll be down below in the description. But let the people know what you're all about over at Mega Mike the Movie Man. What do you do on your channel?
Yeah, so I'm Mega Mike the Movie Man. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I do a ton of different content. I do about 5 to 6 videos a week pre-recorded, going over physical media news, ranking, topics, all that fun stuff. Amazon deal videos. Also, I do out of theater reactions for short videos, and then also a ton of live streams where we play some games, we do some recommendations. So literally I cover almost everything in the movie space. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Stop on by, subscribe, follow. Let me turn it back to you, Ken, because you probably know my content better than me. What would you recommend your audience to check out from my channel? What's some of your favorite
Oh,
content from
definitely
my
the
channel?
rants. Definitely the rants.
I had a good rant today, man. Oh, I was
Did
ranting
you? I
on those.
missed it.
Oh,
You always drop them on like Monday or Tuesday, haven't you?
yep, yeah,
Is that
Tuesdays.
usually your consistent schedule?
Yep. Yeah, and this week I have 2 rants, actually. So I did a rant this
So,
morning on overpriced Steelbooks
okay.
and how those Walmart Steelbooks are getting ridiculous. So I had a rant on that a
Obviously,
little bit. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, me and you both have been talking heavily about that crap. But have you always dropped the rants like on Monday? Is that your day?
Sometimes I've done it on Monday. I think more consistently I've done Tuesdays now because then I
Okay.
switched my Amazon deal videos to Monday. Those used to be Sunday. So everything kind of moved a day forward.
I feel like it used to be Monday because I would always be like clipping images for the physical media report and I'd be watching people's content. Like that's the time where I would watch the most like videos from other people and you would always drop the rant video and I would watch it like on Monday morning, I feel like.
It's a
Um,
great way to start your week off right there.
but
You get a little
now,
rant.
Mike, man, I'm working during the week. I'm Monday through Friday now. That
Oh,
stinks. It's the regular schedule, the Joe Schmo schedule, the
I
working blue collar man.
I
That's
know
the
I was
schedule
kinda
now.
jealous of your old schedule. I'm like, "Oh, you got all that time for the
Dude,
YouTube."
I knew how good I had it, and I knew my time would be up eventually, so I held on to it as long as I could.
You'll get through
Um,
it though. If I can get through it, anybody can get through
I'm
it.
getting used to it. I mean, I'm home by 4:30 every day. I'm off on weekends. My wife's loving it, because we get days off together now and everything. But it does make, recording and getting content out a little bit more difficult for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
me too.
But
It's
anyway,
like
yeah, definitely the rants, but you also do great, just informational based content. What I like about your content, Mike, is as opposed to mine, which is all scattered and all over the place. You always feel like you're in there, you're delivering the information, you're doing it very articulately. Is that a word? And it's very structured the way you lay out your videos. So I do recommend that everybody go check out Mike and his content for sure, because I think you give the information out in a very straightforward way that everybody can understand when they watch your videos.
Well,
So,
thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's good to hear.
I watch Mega Mike the movie, man. I've been watching it all the way back since the intros, man.
Oh yeah, I remember
Mega
those
Mike the
intros.
movie, man.
As a Mega Movie plan. Oh
You
my
got to bring. Have you? Do you ever bring that back like randomly?
I haven't, but maybe I
No.
should.
Just
Nobody
like
has said they
do it like
missed
once a
it,
month.
though. Like, I'm like, okay, let me try a week without it. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if anybody requested again. And nobody was requesting it. I'm like, oh, I guess nobody liked this. I'll cut it then.
My son was listening to me watching YouTube one day, and your video was playing, and that part played, and he got to where he knew your intro.
Oh wow, maybe I should bring it back then. Maybe it was that catchy. Wow.
Yeah, well, which is a whole nother point that we can make about sometimes the content that we're making, the videos we're putting out. You know, you don't always get the comments and the feedback back, but it's like even if you don't realize it, your videos are like affecting people in some way. You know.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, Mike, I wanted to say something else. What was I? Oh, so this is Collectors of the World, and behind you, you have an enormous Funko Pop collection. Are you still collecting the Funko Pops, hot and heavy?
Oh, not hot and heavy no
I feel
more.
like that was a thing for a while. Like my last job, we shipped Funko Pops, and we eventually got rid of them because they weren't making us money.
Yeah,
But
I had to
yeah,
tap out
they
on
were
them eventually.
they were hot and heavy, like just all different kinds. I feel like they did everything at
Oh my
one point. Like every single show and movie and pop culture reference was a Funko Pop.
Oh yeah, and I feel like I got all the ones I needed. Now they're just, change the different pose of this character or costume or color of the character. It's like, do I need that many more pops? No,
Mhm.
I'm good. I have
Were you
thousands.
into collecting like the chases?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There would be times I would be at Hot Topic, 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's get the Chase edition. And then one day I woke up and I'm like, do I really want to keep doing this? No, no, I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing here.
And you were probably doing that alongside collecting movies too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, I kind of switched them. I'm like, let me collect more movies now. Let me pull back on the Funko Pops.
But
And that's
you
how
kept
it
them though. Like you still got a sizable amount in your
Oh,
collection.
I've kept all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't
So,
do it. Our friend Tony over at Basement Blues did. He's just like, I'm done, and just sold them all.
man, if I got offered the right price for them, I definitely would. Like if somebody was like, okay, here's 50,000 for all of them. For sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Take them off my hands. I just don't like having to go through the hassle of, jumping on eBay and doing all the shipping and that reselling process.
Yeah.
It's just too much a hassle.
I don't
Especially
like
you'd
it
have to go
either.
through every pop as that would take too much time, way too much time.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
That's why I like if I posted like images of just take this whole stack of Blu-rays, like I'll ship it to you, but I don't want to sell them individually. I
Yeah.
really don't. But you got is that your whole collection behind you, or you got like a couple other walls of
Oh, I
Funko
got
Pops?
pops everywhere, every
Okay.
room. I got pops in the living room. I got pops on top of, little awning area. It's crazy. There's so many pops everywhere.
Yeah, the funny thing about the chases is I don't know if you know this, but pops would come like in a box of 36, and there would be 6 individual boxes of 6, and then there would be one chase inside every box. So it was one of 6 would
Yeah.
be the chases. Howard the Duck, Mike, are you a big fan of that? Seeing
Yes,
the
of
poster
course.
in the
Howard
background.
the Duck. Yeah. And shout out to Tim. He got me that poster for the Christmas Collectors Club. So he knew
Nice.
I loved Howard the Duck. But
I
yeah,
like Howard
great
the Duck.
movie. It's so fun, isn't it? Just super entertaining.
I'm
I
very
don't know how
nostalgic
to
for it.
explain
Like
it.
I remember watching that when I was like 6 or 7 years old, So that was like, if you want to call it a superhero film, that was one of the first superhero movies I ever watched was Howard the Duck.
I mean, without it, would we have the Marvel Universe? I don't know. It's a very important film.
I think it is. And I think it's worth noting that it's maybe one of the best 4Ks
Oh, it was so nice. Oh, it looks
that
so
they've ever put out. Universal did a great job on that 4K. Everybody laughs at me when I say that. I think the year it came out, it made my top 10 4Ks of the
Oh,
year because I thought it looked so good.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. But Mike, let's dive into you a little bit as a collector. I don't feel like I've heard your story of how you got started collecting. How far back does it go? Does it go back to when you were a kid? Did it start later on in life? What's the collecting journey? How did that start for you?
Oh,
And
yeah.
what did it start with? Was it with Funko Pops, movies, whatever?
Oh, yeah, I've been collecting ever since I was young. My family is a family of collectors. So my mom, my grandma would be out at the stores early morning getting Power Ranger toys for us when we were kids. So I've just always been around collecting. And my mom had like thousands of Barbie dolls in the house. So she was a big collector herself. So we would start
Oh,
collecting everything. Yeah, we would have our movie collection, our VHS, and then we would get DVDs. That would be like the holiday gift. Like, here's some movies for the family. So that was always fun. I would collect trading cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, video games. I used to be really big into gaming, so I would get a ton of video games.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
now we got to go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
What games? What gaming system? Because
So
I know you're a little bit younger than me. So what was your teenage preteen gaming system of choice?
I would play them all, but my favorite was Sony PlayStation. I was a big
Okay.
PlayStation
The first
person.
PlayStation?
All the PlayStations.
Okay.
I would say PlayStation 2 was when it got really popular in my household, but I
Yeah.
get PlayStation 3,
Don't
PlayStation
sleep on the
4.
first PlayStation,
Oh,
man.
yeah,
That first
PlayStation was
PlayStation
fun.
had some good
Mhm.
Metal Gear Solid,
Oh,
Crash
yeah.
Bandicoot.
Oh, Crash Bandicoot was great.
I love the Final Fantasy games. I don't know if you were into Final Fantasy or not, but
Never played
Final
Final,
Fantasy 7 was one of the most popular games when I was a kid.
but I love their exclusives with, like, God of War, Uncharted,
Oh
Twisted
yeah.
Metal. Twisted Metal was, like, my go-to. I love that
I
franchise.
didn't play God of War when it first came out. I was a couple years late to it, but like when I played that game, it changed my life. Like
Oh, it was so fun.
I thought that the first and the second game are some of the best storytelling I've
Oh, yeah.
ever seen in games.
Oh, yeah, and God
I
of War
loved it.
3 was great. Oh, not a bad one in that
Yeah,
franchise.
God of War 3 is awesome too. Yeah.
And then I was really into Mortal Kombat, so that was my fighting game of choice. It was Mortal Kombat every day. So
Yeah. Did you have the 64?
no, that was before my time for sure. Yeah, so
Okay.
I got into Mortal Kombat on Mortal Kombat 4. So that was way later on, PlayStation
So
4.
when you jump, so in your day it was PS2, GameCube, first Xbox.
Yeah,
Was that
that
the
was
era
the
that
heyday
you are
right
kind of nostalgic for?
there. Yeah.
See, that era is funny for me because I was a teenager, like going into like early adulthood. So like the GameCube era, I completely missed because I didn't have a GameCube. That for me at that time was like for kids. Like even though I love Mario now and I've
Super
had a
Smash
Wii,
Brothers, I love Smash.
I've had a Wii, the Switch I love. Like I love playing that stuff now, but like when I was a teen, I was like, this is for kids. I want the stuff with the hardcore games like Halo and Grand Theft Auto and all that kind of stuff.
I played a lot of that too. Yeah, Halo 2 was really the big game during that time, and that was my brother's game, and we would go and like hook up the TVs like you had to
Oh
do
yeah.
back in the
Oh
day to
yeah.
have different
Oh
teams.
yeah.
Yep.
I was addicted to Halo 2, but really Halo 3. Like I was
Oh,
early
that was
20s.
fun.
Halo
Yeah.
3, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Like I remember like playing 7 hours at night when I got home from work and then waking up early the next morning and playing. Like I was hopelessly addicted to it. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
was terrible. I wouldn't want to ever be like that again because like I was literally getting nothing done but
Oh yeah.
but playing games. I was prestiging, but that was about it.
There you go. It takes so much time, video games, and I mean,
Mhm.
when you have a channel and you have work and you have movies
No
to
time
watch,
for it
there's
anymore.
no more time. There's no more time for gaming.
That's why I transitioned out of gaming and got more into collecting movies and watching movies. I've always loved movies, but like it's you can experience a story in an hour and a half or 2 hours versus 20 to 30 hours playing a video game.
Yeah.
So, and it's, at the end of the day, like with the game, they do get very addicting. And,
Oh yeah.
I like them, but you're really like, you're not doing anything, at the end of the day, it really is a time waster. They're fun, but it's a time waster for sure. But Mike, so it's when did it transition into movies, and what format did you start with?
Yeah, so my family collection was VHS and DVD, but for me getting into collecting movies, I would occasionally pick up a Blu-ray here and there when I saw it in the store. I'm like, oh, The Wolf of Wall Street, let me pick that up. Oh, The Dark Knight Rises Steelbook, I need that. The cover looks so cool. But I didn't really get hot and heavy into collecting movies until probably 5 or so years ago when watching the YouTube space and the physical media stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, there's something to this. And plus, streaming was pissing me off. I'm just like, I'm getting over streaming. I can't find stuff I want to watch on streaming. My internet wasn't that good, so streaming was always freezing and pausing for me. I'm like, there has to be something better. Let's go back to physical media. And then I started learning about 4Ks and then go down the rabbit hole of boutique labels and all of that. And so now, I guess over the past 5 or so years now, really built up to the collection of, I think, about 2,000 titles I think I have now. So good, a
Yeah.
good collection.
You got a sizable collection with 2,000. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like me. Like I was collecting pretty hot and heavy like in the DVD era, but like I didn't know what I was getting. Like I didn't know anything about like Anchor Bay or any of the boutique labels back then because I know Arrow was around, Criterion was around, but I wasn't paying attention to none of that. I was just buying stuff at like Target and Walmart, and I actually didn't set foot in a Best Buy to buy a movie until 2017. I didn't
Oh,
even
wow.
I didn't know anything about Best Buy selling movies until then. And then I started learning about like the Best Buy exclusives and everything.
Yeah, I remember Best Buy when I was young. I would pick up a couple of the box sets, like the Rocky collection, Batman collection. So there's a few franchises I picked up when I was younger, but I didn't go back to it till later.
Yeah, I remember Circuit City. I do
Oh,
remember getting
Circuit City,
movies at
yeah.
Circuit City, and I also remember buying video games at Circuit City. And that was probably the last time I was in a Circuit City. I think I bought the last thing I can remember buying there was like Final Fantasy 9 on PS1. So that was probably like 1999 was the last time I was
Oh,
in there.
wow.
But I also shopped at Suncoast Video a lot, which was a store that we had in our local mall. And I stuff was way overpriced in there, but it was back in before we had like we had the internet, but before the internet was hot and heavy. If you wanted to find stuff that was a little bit more obscure, like some horror movies and VHS tapes, and I was super into wrestling, so I liked finding like wrestling VHS tapes, and they had all that kind of stuff. That's
Oh,
where I got a lot of the Friday the 13th movies and Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween movies on VHS was the Suncoast Video.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't think I have that store in my area at all. Suncoast?
The- There's a few left, I think. I've seen people make videos. So I know that they're still around, but I don't have any in my area anymore. We still got a couple FYEs, but that's about it.
Yeah, I got one FYE. Yep.
Yeah. So did you so you got back into it hot and heavy 5 years ago. So before that, was it pretty much nothing? Did you just get a few things here and there? Is that kind of how it was for you for a while?
Yeah, just a few things here and there. Once again, when I saw a franchise I really wanted and it was in a cool box set, or
Yeah.
there was just a Blu-ray, I'm like, oh, I really like that movie in the theaters. Let me pick it up now. So it was much more sporadic. It wasn't consistently every week, every month. It's just okay when I saw it in store.
And do you because like I said, you're still fairly young. Well, you're getting ready to be 30, right?
Yep, yep,
So
gonna
what you
be
close?
30.
I'm not trying to out your age or anything.
Oh,
I
no
mean,
worries. Yeah, I'll be 30 soon. I feel it. It's catching up with me.
yeah.
I'm like
So
waking up in the morning. I'm like, what
you're
is that?
about 8, 9 years younger than I am. So that's about a generation. Do you remember like the video store days? Do you remember going into like a
Oh, yes.
Blockbuster, renting VHS, DVD, that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
stuff?
I love Blockbuster. I actually have a Blockbuster video coming out tomorrow. Oh, well, whenever this is posted, you might have already seen it. But yeah, talking about Blockbuster, and I had great memories of the rental store. It'd be fun. You go with your family on the weekend, like Friday
Mhm.
night. You'd walk down the aisles, and I'm like a little kid, so I'm just looking at the different artworks and like, oh, that looks cool. What is? And I didn't know anything about the movies because I was super young, but I would just like grab it off the shelf. Hey, can we take this home? Can we go watch this one this weekend? And that's what my family would do. We would rent a couple movies, go home, watch them, and it was an actual event. That's what I miss about the rental
Mhm.
4 days. It was more purposeful. It was more, hey, we're actually going to do something together as a family. Now it's everybody's just on their phone watching whatever. We don't talk about the movies anymore. It's not, it's not a big event. I miss that. I miss those days. Oh, I wish we could
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, it's tough now, I'll be honest, with kids and movies, and it honestly makes me a little bit worried for the future, what the
I'm
kind of
so
movies we're gonna be
worried,
getting down the line,
man.
or what's going to interest them and what's going to be popular. Um, because, like, my kids, like, they like watching movies, but that's not all they like to do, and honestly, like, that's not their primary, like, focus. Like, if they watch a movie, it's fine, they don't have to watch it again. Whereas, like, when we were kids, we watched a movie we liked, we would watch it over and over and over again. We'd get involved with the movie, get to where we could quote it and just learn it frontwards and backwards, and it's like that almost seems like it's not there anymore for kids
Oh,
at
it's not.
all.
Yeah, Generation Z, they are not movie fans. And I know you've brought that up before. The
Yeah,
problem with having less movie fans, they're more interested in video games, being on social media, but not really movies. And if they do watch a movie, often at times it's in the background. And like you said, it's a one-time watch. They don't really talk about it much after. It's just, okay, background
yeah,
noise. That's all it was. And I'm like,
yeah. I've been
no.
saying for a little bit now that it's not the death of physical media I'm worried about, it's the death of
Oh,
movies
yeah.
themselves. Like,
Because,
I think that's what's at stake. I think physical media will be fine,
yeah.
as long as there's collectors and people that like movies, like, it'll be around.
I agree. Yeah, the death of movie fans is much more the focus, I think, because that hurts, not only the physical media collecting world, but also movie theater going, all of that. It hurts everything dealing with movies. And
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's a big
because
problem. Yeah.
my kids are upstairs right now, they're playing video games and all
Yeah.
that stuff, like, they could care less what I got down here. If I was a kid, I would have crapped my pants if I saw a collection like this, like, and to have that in my own house, like, it's just that just shows you, like, the difference between kids' mindset now versus back in the day. I would have been down here, like, watching everything. I would have watched, every single movie that was on the shelf, I would have done have watched,
Oh, yeah.
when I was younger. So it's, and I think that's what we're trying to do now. It's like we're almost trying to recreate that video store in our own house because we don't have access to anything like that anymore.
I know I'm trying, but once again, other people besides us collectors are not really into it. Like my wife, she doesn't want to pull a 4K down off the shelf and watch it. She'll just watch something on her phone, stream it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I actually think I have that movie in my collection. She's like, nah, I'd rather do it this way. What?
Yeah.
What is this?
I was on the couch with my wife the other night and we're just scrolling through the streaming services. I don't know what to watch. I'm like, I got a collection of like 4,000 movies back there. You probably like some of it. Like if we actually went into it and picked out a movie together. Nah, that doesn't sound good. I'm like, all right, let's just keep scrolling down a streaming service until we find some generic Netflix film that they just crapped out.
Oh gosh. I just
And
watched
we'll
one of
watch
those
that.
the other day and I'm like, oh, what is this? This is terrible.
Yeah, they just they all feel like they're just run through a processor at this point. I don't know.
But it works for them because they don't have to do anything more. It's like
Yeah,
it's good enough to keep the younger generations subscribed and streaming. It's like it's good enough, we don't have to
yeah.
do something great or unique or different, you know? There you go. It is just what it is.
Are
Very
there, because we watched that movie Atlas with Jennifer
Oh god,
Lopez.
there's such bad things. See, I saw a Hitman, and Hitman, I'm like, "Oh gosh, that was not good."
See, that one was getting a lot of praise. That
See,
was getting a
and
lot of praise, and I'm not gonna say I didn't like it, but it was definitely not worthy of all the praise.
oh yeah,
Um,
I've seen worse.
it's
Don't
a
get me wrong,
awkward
I've seen
movie.
worse.
It's a very awkward movie, and I appreciate certain, like, big swings that it tries to take, but overall, I don't think the movie works all that well.
Oh,
Um, but Atlas was okay. It reminded me of, like, a Battlefield Earth or something like that, just a really crappy, like, sci-fi action film that would have bombed at the box office in 1995, but it would have found life on the video store shelves, and that's what that movie reminded me of. It's not good, but I kind of enjoyed certain parts of it. I don't know. It was just too long. Like if they would have shortened it up, it would have been a little bit better. A little bit better. But I feel like people now, everything is like the worst thing ever or it's the best thing ever.
Oh
And
gosh.
nobody can have any nuance with film discussion anymore. It's like that's shit or that's great. I love it. And that's like the entire conversation, it feels like.
Oh yeah. And I'm never that way. I'm like, you know what? There can be 2s, 3s, and 4s in the middle, right? You don't have to
Yeah.
have a 1 or a 5. There's the middle right there.
Yeah. And I know you go to the theater a lot. You go
Yep.
like pretty much every weekend. Do
Oh,
you
at least some usually I go twice a weekend now. I've gone 3
see
days in a
everything?
row before. I try to see
You try to see everything?
mostly everything. Yeah, I probably see about 90% of stuff out there, so
I know you do your out of the theater reactions, but do you ever do like movie reviews
So I
for
used
'em?
to do a ton of movie reviews, and that's kind of how my channel started, but not
Okay.
enough people were watching the movie reviews.
It's
So I'm
really
like,
hard to
"Let's
break
kind of
into the
yeah,
movie review space, I
very
think.
competitive, and I'm like, "Well, why am I making this movie review? Why am I taking 6 to 10 hours to make this so 60 people watch it?" It's
Yeah.
I'm like, "Let me pivot to
'Cause I
something
I did
different."
those on my channel too in the very early days, and I just the same thing, it's like nobody really cared to watch it, and I'm like, "Well, I'm just gonna lean full on into this physical media thing because that seems to be getting more traction. People seem to be
Mhm,
more interested in that." But I started the channel with my wife, and we do movie reviews on there, and it is very random. It feels like it's like one review will do really good just out of nowhere, and then something that you think will do good just eats crap, you know? It happens all the time. It's all over the place, it feels like.
oh, yeah,
But
it's super weird, and it doesn't matter how much time you put into it, like, "Oh, let me do a lot of editing, put some video clips in there," and you're like, "Why did that get 6 views? What happened?"
yeah, that'll burn you out quick too if you're
Mm,
spending a lot of time on a video and then it doesn't do well.
mhm.
That will burn you out quick. But we'll talk about the
Oh, yeah,
content creation part
absolutely.
here in a second. What's the best movie you've seen in the theater recently?
Ooh, Bad Boys: Ride or Die, and that was the most recent one, but it is
Yeah.
so good. For an action comedy, it's hilarious,
You
and
don't
the
even have to tell
action
me.
scenes are outrageous. It's
I
so
want to
fun.
see that movie so bad, but
It's so
I'm a
good.
massive Bad Boys fan. I always have been since 1995 when I watched the first movie. I
And
love
this
that
might be my
franchise.
favorite out of the bunch. Like, this one gets wild, and I love how it does that. It's super entertaining.
I'm excited for this one because they did such a good job with the last one. Like
Oh, yeah,
they
last one.
already answered the question, can they come back after all these years and still be entertaining and still have charisma? That question's answered. So now I'm
Oh,
just excited to watch this movie and see the
it's so
continuation of it.
good. Yeah, I'm
But
happy it did decent.
oh yeah, it did good. It did good for the budget for sure. So I was gonna go see it today, but I just had too many other things to do after work and maybe I'll go try to see it tomorrow. Maybe, possibly.
Mm.
Um, how many movies have you seen in theaters this year so
Oh
far?
my goodness. Wow. I don't even know. I should be keeping track of this, but it has to be a bunch. If
You
I'm
don't have
doing
a
at least
letterbox, Mike?
no letterbox yet. No
What?
letterbox. My Regal
You see
app
all these
tracks it though. My Regal app should show me once in a while. Give me a
do
report
you
every
have
other
the what's the Regal app? What's the benefits of that?
Oh, well, the subscription, so to be subscribed to the Regal
Yeah,
theaters, oh my gosh. If you go to the movies consistently, you need a subscription pass. I've saved so much money with that. I've saved thousands of dollars because I'm just
yeah,
going so frequently and it's only like 19 bucks a month in my area. It's like going to the movies is the cheapest way for me to watch a movie now. Whereas for most people, it's expensive because, tickets can be expensive in their area and, bringing out the whole family and buying concessions. But my
yeah.
app will give me rewards. So I'll get free popcorns and free drinks all the time. I'll even get like free premium tickets to upgrade to IMAX and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this Regal app. It's
So
amazing.
it's $19 a month and you don't get unlimited movie
No,
tickets.
yeah, it's unlimited.
Is it
Anytime.
unlimited?
Yep. Regal's unlimited. Anytime, any Regal.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
I mean, that's pretty
amazing.
close to MoviePass. Did you have MoviePass back in the day?
Oh, I loved MoviePass, and I just watched the documentary MoviePass Movie Crash. That was great. Oh, MoviePass was amazing. Well, when it worked.
Yeah.
When it worked for that, like, year and a 2, it actually worked. It was
I
phenomenal. That
remember
was so
following that
good.
story. It was, Screen Junkies. I remember I used to watch them a lot back in the day, and they were always covering it. They actually had the head guy from MoviePass on one time, and he tried to spin it as they were going to start making a bunch of money one day, and they
Yeah,
did
he
not.
was definitely a salesperson. It's
Yeah,
like
everybody was trying to figure out like how exactly are you going to end up making money? $10 a month, unlimited movie tickets.
well, it was awful. It was the worst business plan ever. I mean, it was great for the customers when it worked, but literally they just wanted to get enough subscribers so then they could extort the movie theaters and like try to go to AMC
Yeah,
and we're gonna be like,
yeah,
hey, now we got all these subscribers. If we want to, put your
it
movies on
was
there, you would have
crazy.
to give us some of your concession money. Like what?
Yeah,
How
that's
was that a
crazy.
business plan?
I remember all that. That was a crazy story to follow. I never got it. I should have because I was going to the movies like crazy back then. I don't know why I didn't. I think my brother-in-law ended up getting that, but it was like movie tickets were already like over $10. So it was like if somebody went to the movies at least once,
Yeah.
just once, like that would have paid for the whole month and then some. They would have lost movie if somebody saw one movie a month
Man, they
or
lost
lost
so
money.
much money from me. They
I
lost
know.
so much money
But
from.
they did make an impact. Like, they made an
Oh, yeah.
impact on the business,
Yeah.
and they changed the theater model forever, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, because I don't think we would have subscription passes from, like, Regal and
No.
AMC if it wasn't for
Yeah.
them, so thank goodness for that.
AMC, Cinemark,
Yeah.
Regal, they all of them started something just because of that. Yeah, we got, I think we had Cinemark. Cinemark has something, and it's like 10
Cinemark's
bucks a
the
month.
worst one for
Yeah,
the pass, yeah.
I think it's like 10 bucks a month. I don't know if you can upgrade it or anything, but it's like you get maybe 1 or 2 tickets, free tickets a month, and the concessions are a little bit cheaper. So, I mean, like, if you go, it's worth it because 10 bucks a month and what you get off in concessions makes it worth the price, but, yeah, it's not, like, unlimited or anything like Regal, for sure.
Yeah, but they're nice theaters, like, Cinemark has usually really good theaters. My Regal theater is totally run down and terrible, oh my gosh.
All my theaters are run down and terrible. Like, I don't have a good theater anywhere. That's why I always try to explain to people, they're like, "Why don't you go to the theater?" I'm like, "All my theaters suck." Like, they're run down. Nobody knows how to freaking properly project the movie. They don't
Oh
start the
god.
movie on time. The movie cuts off when there's 20 minutes left. There's no sound in, like, the first 20 minutes. I'm like, they're always screwing something up at these
Oh, yeah.
theaters,
And now
like
the advertisements are ridiculous, like, it's not just trailers, they have commercials before the trailers, in the middle of trailers,
yeah,
and right before the movie starts, like credit card commercials. What's going
mhm,
on here? What is that? Like, I know you guys are hard for cash right now, but don't we
yeah,
wanna have a good premium experience so customers want to come back?
yeah.
Like, you would think if you give them a good experience, they will want to come back. If you give a terrible experience, that's why people aren't coming to the theaters all the time. Like, come on, movie theaters.
Just wait till they start playing commercials in the middle of the movie.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? I
Like,
wouldn't doubt it. Intermission time with commercials.
you're paying $25 a ticket, not IMAX, to see a movie, and they cut to commercials just like they do on Hulu or whatever. Just you
Oh,
see the counter, and then it just stops. You know you got 2 minutes till it starts back up.
yeah, I would not doubt it. And yeah, if I
Yeah,
didn't have my unlimited pass, I would definitely not go as often. I would be much more selective. But I'm like, if
yeah.
I have the pass, I'm gonna go all the time. So yeah, Bad Boys was great. And then I saw The Watchers, which a lot of people didn't love, but I'm like, I really like this one. This was fantastic to me. So
Yeah. If there's a movie that I just really wanna see, I will go to the theater and support it. And I mean, my wife will wanna go see movies, and we'll go with the family and stuff, but, like, if it's just me going on my own, I used to go by myself all the time, like, back in, like, 2017, 2018, 2019, before the pandemic. I went all the time by myself. I tried to see everything kinda like you. But now it's like I have to really wanna see something to drag myself to the theater by myself to go see it, and Bad Boys is one of those movies, but it's not Dune Part 2, it's not Furiosa, it's like all these movies
uh,
that everybody else loves, it feels like. They're like, "Why don't you go to the theater and see that, Ken? You need to see that in the theater." I'm like, "I'll go to the movie if it's something I really wanna see, like Bad Boys.
hey, Bad Boys
I'll
is
go see
my
that."
favorite out of those three. And I do like Doom Part 2 and Furiosa, but Bad Boys was just amazing. It was great.
Yeah, man. I love 90s action, I'm just a sucker for it, and it's like I'm sure it's modernized, for sure,
Oh
but
yeah, super
it's
modernized.
just something about having those 2 actors back in those roles. It's just gonna transport me back to being a kid, and, like, I love the last one, and those 2 directors, I thought did a great job with it. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. But do you like the rest of the Bad Boys films?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched the first two in the longest time, but I remember enjoying them. So yeah, I mean, they're Bad Boys movies. It is what it is.
The second
Do
one
what you
came out
got.
when I was a senior in high school, or the summer before I became a senior. Me and all my friends went to go see it, so that movie's super nostalgic for me, and I loved it in theater. That's my least favorite now is the second one because I do think it's a little bit too over the top
Mhm.
and comedic, and whereas the first one I felt like just had the perfect balance.
See, I don't
Um,
know. This new one is very comedic. This new one is very
I'm a
over the
little worried. I'm
top.
not worried because I like Bad Boys 2. I do like it. But I feel like this one's gonna be like Bad Boys 2 of these new 2. It's gonna be a little goofier than Bad Boys for Life was.
It is.
Um,
It's pretty goofy, but it's I don't know. It's just fun.
but Bad Boys 2 has like the greatest thing that Michael Bay's ever done, in my opinion, is that car chase sequence in Bad Boys 2. It's incredible. So that movie's worth watching just for that. But let's get back on track here. And what's your current? You already answered this, but your current collection size is 2,000. Everybody always wants to know the
Yep,
size of the
about
collection.
2000. A mixture of 4Ks, Blu-rays, slipcovers, steelbooks, all genres, all decades. I kind of just
Well,
pick
that's what I was
whatever.
gonna ask. What types of movies do you collect the most?
So collect the most. I mean, it's in the name, Mega Mike the Movie Man. I guess superhero movies would be number one. Then would be horror slashers. But I really will go for any genre, any decade. If it's a movie that interests me, I'll definitely watch it. So I have a lot of variety, which I like. Because depending
Yeah,
on the mood, I can be like, oh, let me put on this today. Or yeah, let's do an action or a horror movie the next day. So
yeah,
I will switch back and forth between genres and decades all the time in my movie watching. Like, I'll have
yeah,
weird double features sometimes.
yeah. I can understand. Some people collect, just horror movies or just dramas or just, I love the variety. I like having all of it in the collection, and even if I'm not like super into a certain genre, I still like to have access to it just in case. You know. But do you collect for any specific time period the most? Would you
Ah,
say modern movies?
See, I'm all over the place. I mean, I do love modern movies because that's where most of the superhero movies are. So it's like if you
Yeah,
want superhero movies, you got to go post 2000s. But I also love the 80s and the 90s. I mean, the 80s and the 90s had great comedies with like John Hughes movies. And then we just talked about action movies. And you talk about the horror slashers. That's the 80s and 90s right there. So I'm always back and forth 80s, 90s, and then the modern 2000 stuff. So I guess anything
I
post
know.
80s.
Let me ask you this: how does the fact that you see a lot of movies in the theaters, how does that affect your collecting? Because I imagine that because you see them in the theaters, a lot of them, you probably don't buy a lot of new releases day one.
Oh,
Am I
yeah.
right in that?
I'm not a day one person. I'm all about the deals. That's why I like doing deal videos
Because
because
you saw it already. You're
yeah,
not in a hurry to
yeah,
pick
I
it up,
don't need
unless
a
it's
day
like a
one.
nice deal book that you want or something.
Yeah, if it's like a superhero still book that I really want, then maybe. But now I'm just waiting for the deal, and there's always a deal around the corner. Like sometimes it'll be 2 weeks later, a month later, 2 months later. I can wait. Prime Day deals, holiday
Yeah.
deals, boutique label sales. There's always sales and deals happening. So I'm no
Yeah.
rush for a day one pickup.
And I know you do your deal video and stuff once a week, and so you track this stuff. But if you're really paying attention to like the deals and what labels and studios go on sale and stuff, you'll know that a Warner Brothers title that's
Yeah.
$30 the week that it comes out is probably going to be like 20 in two
Yep.
weeks. It's
Yep.
going to drop quick, and then by Black Friday, it's going to be $10.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh, I
all the
love the
Warner Brothers
$10
releases are.
4Ks.
They
Oh,
drop the quickest.
yep.
Paramount, it drops, but it doesn't drop as quick and it doesn't drop as much. Lionsgate usually gets super cheap at some point too. So
Yeah.
you just got to watch it and track it and pay attention to, Mike's deal videos as well.
Yes.
The deals.
Save yourself some money on your collecting journey. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Let's get into you as a content creator, Mike. Let's break it open and talk about that. So you started collecting in 2018, 2019, right?
Mhm.
When did you decide that you wanted to be a YouTuber? make videos of your own? And when did that start? Because I don't know if I know the origin of the channel.
Yeah, so Halloween coming up will be my 3-year anniversary. So I'm just over, I guess, what, about 2 years?
3 years. I
Yeah,
thought you were
3
on here
years.
longer.
3 years when it hits Halloween. So that's exciting. But yeah, I mean, I guess a few years ago, I don't know,
Your
probably having
first
a
review was Halloween Kills.
oh no, I did the original Halloween, the Halloween Steelbook from Best Buy, that really nice
Okay.
4K Steelbook. I thought, hey, what would be the perfect movie to, I guess, show and review? It's Halloween. Halloween's one of my favorites. Let's click record and see if I have something here. I guess I was having probably a tough day at work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm watching YouTube. I love what these other content creators are doing. Could I do something like this in the future? Could it be a viable career path later on? I have no
Yeah.
idea. Let me just hit record, see if I have something. I know it's probably going to be terrible. And it was terrible. Oh my gosh. It was in my office and you could barely see me, the quality, the sound, the visual. Oh gosh, it was
Now
terrible.
you're basically doing like a showcase, an unboxing video. You showed your face though. You didn't just do
No,
the
I showed my
love.
face.
You're
I didn't
brave then for that to be your first video.
Yeah, and I didn't even do a great unboxing. I don't even know if I showed everything with the Steelbook. I just held it up, did a quick review, and my review was very scripted. Like, I used to be like, "Oh, I have to write down this whole script for a review and do all
Yeah.
that," and then I found out, no, I cannot do that. That is not the way for me to do it. It sounds way
It's
robotic.
hard.
It's like
Yeah.
it sounds off to me. It's much better for me to be kind of, "Okay, I have
I get
some."
in my head when I do
Yeah.
that. I used to write. I didn't write scripts, but I would write notes. I barely even write notes anymore.
Yeah, I'm
You know.
very no, not many notes anymore. I'll have maybe a few points in an outline that I wanna hit, like what sections I'll cover, but then it's
Yeah.
really off the cuff for most of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I first started, I didn't know any of the technical stuff with YouTube. That is probably my weak spot anyway. It's like the technical, the production stuff is stuff I'm always working on. But I'm just like, let me teach myself how to do this YouTube. I'll look up some YouTube videos, try to learn from other content creators, and then just get the channel better as I go. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I think I have something here. I love talking movies. It brings me joy. So let's see where this goes. And I think you knew me when I had like what, under 100 subscribers, I'm sure.
Probably. I think. I mean, it. It wouldn't have been long after you started your channel that I was aware of you, because I remember watching your review for Liar Liar
Oh
from
yes.
Shout Factory, and I didn't they put that out at the beginning of 2022, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Man, it just feels like yesterday I was doing that one. Wow.
So it would have been, you would have been like 3 months in
Yeah.
when I watched that. So yeah, I was pretty. I was there from the beginning, Mike. Don't forget me if you get big. You know,
No, I will never forget
run
to
there
do
since day
that.
one.
But yeah, and
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh yeah, I just started doing reviews and then trying out different video concepts, see what would work. Okay, I'm like, okay, physical media. It seems like my audience is gravitating more towards those videos, so let me lean more towards that. And then just looking at the analytics of YouTube, and that's kind of how I've crafted my channel. It's like, okay, what's getting the most traction? Let me lean towards that, and also what do I enjoy doing and having fun with. So, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to put the words death and physical media.
Hey,
And
that's one of
you
my
would
best
eventually find it.
videos. I'm like, I found that out
Well,
pretty quickly.
you got into it before there started to be like 85,000 of them.
Oh
If
my
you did it,
gosh,
if you
everybody
did it
started
now,
doing
then it
it.
probably wouldn't be as
I
successful.
know. Everybody started doing it. I'm like, this just sounds good. Okay, physical media and dead. Let's put that
Yeah,
together. And now it's an annual tradition for me. At the beginning of every year, I always do physical media dead, and this year now.
yeah.
But I'm happy I started that trend, or
Well,
I
now,
think I
Mike,
did.
it's all
Oh,
about the physical media resurgence. It's
oh,
coming
ooh, that's kind of
back,
my
and the
video I'm dropping.
streamers are dying. It's the death of streaming.
Yeah.
Um, So, and I'm not saying anything about anybody that makes videos. I make tons of videos like that. So
Oh
I would
yeah, yeah.
never
We all
call
borrow
out
from each
anybody for
other
making
anyway.
any type of video.
Of course.
But I always really like, it's not the YouTube content creators that get me with some of the stuff. It's like the major like news outlets and how they report stuff and the articles that come out and how quickly they'll just like turn their mindset on a dime, and feels like it's like physical media is dead, like when Best Buy is shutting down, and then Netflix removes something from the streaming service. They're like, well, now physical media may be coming back because people are have their eyes open to these streaming services and removing content and all this stuff. I'm like, you guys just said 2 months ago that it was dying, and now you're saying it's resurging? Come on. But it's all good, though. It's all good. So what was interesting is when you were talking about the beginning of the channel, and I always, find this fascinating, just people's mindset on their channels, the future, where they're going. So you were thinking about this maybe being like a viable career path for you moving forward. Right from the beginning, you had that in your mind.
Oh yeah, right from the beginning, it was totally planned as, okay, this is my business. I'm going to take it very seriously. I'm going to be committed to it. I'm going to be consistent with it. And so I'm like, that's my strength right there. Consistency, I can totally do. Hard work, I can totally do. The technical stuff, I'm going to have to learn. But if I lean into my skills, maybe I can get something really going here. And so I'm hoping maybe in like 7 years, I can be at least at 10,000 subs. And I would love, and 20 years, maybe 100,000. And then I could, retire from my other work and just do this and have a fun time,
It would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice. Yeah, that's something that I, grapple with and stuff at sometimes, and try to think about, well, is this something that's possible in the future and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think it would just cause me too much stress to know that this was my only
if it was the only I'm right there with you. It was the only source of income, no way. That's why I'm like, okay, when I retire and I have that coming in, and then I would feel much more comfortable.
It'll replace your Social Security check that you probably won't get anyway. So yeah, I just always find that interesting, and it's you have the YouTube content creators that have gone full time, and that's always a very inspiring story. But I always think to myself, it's like, well, what is it like to be them? Like, and that, you're doing what you love, but like that just has to be so stressful.
Super stressful, because
you're your own boss. You're responsible for your own income. It's like if something fails, like it's not just better go back to the drawing board. It's like that's part of your monthly income,
And you're not
now if a video fails, it's like, oh, it sucks, not a big deal. I got my job. But
and you're not dealing with like a typical human resources. You're dealing with YouTube. And who knows what YouTube is going to decide or what's going to happen to them. They're just like demonetized.
Like you don't ever get to talk to an actual person. You never have to deal with YouTube. It's always a bot, and it's like
generic email. Here you go.
So when you randomly get demonetized or they don't pay you enough on a video or something like that, that was an issue I had one time. And I had a video that did really good, and I didn't get hardly any monetization money on it. And it wasn't blocked. It wasn't restricted or anything. And they had no answer for me as to why that was.
Wow. Yeah. So, see, YouTube is that stuff behind the curtain is so sketchy. I'm like, I could not rely on it just for that reason. I would not be comfortable just for that.
Yeah. It's it would be rough for sure. And but I mean, it would also be very rewarding at the end of the day to be responsible for yourself in that aspect and not really have to answer to anybody. And but also, like, I know myself, and if that was all I had to do to make money, like I would literally be in the basement for like 20 hours a day, like making videos and things like that, and trying to figure out how to get more traction and all that. So my family would probably never see me more so than they don't now.
But. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know how it is, just trying to juggle everything. It's like early mornings, late nights, weekends, working on this stuff. I mean, a lot of people don't realize it. Like, unless you're a content creator, you really don't realize how much work every single video takes. It's a lot.
Yeah, and you'll have people, it's like, why haven't you watched this yet? Why haven't you watched that yet? Oh, you're getting these movies, but you're not watching them. It's like, I try to watch movies, but it is tough to watch movies and also juggle your personal life and work life and making videos. And it does take a long time. Like, I don't know what your schedule's like, but like to watch a movie and watch all the special features and do the review, like that can be a 5 to 6 hour experience, maybe longer in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, as I gotten more, I guess, faster at making videos, it still takes me probably at least 4 hours on the low end. I mean, 4 to 6, 8
Yeah.
hours sometimes. Um, it's yeah, it's a
So
lot.
what's your schedule like? Because
Oh my
I know you work during the day,
God.
Monday through Friday. Do you come home and it's go time? You're shooting videos, or
So I used to do that when I first started and I was getting burnt out. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this every day because then you're not seeing the wife, you're up late at night working on stuff and
yeah,
I'm like, okay, this isn't working for me. What else can I do? So now what I've been doing that's been working a lot better is on the weekend, I will wake up super early, like I would wake up for my job, which, is like 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, right? And then I will work on the channel for that time and try to do like 2 videos Saturday morning, 2 videos Sunday, and then maybe I'll have to squeeze in 1 video during the week. And then I have my short out of theater reactions and then live planned. So doubling up on one of those, couple days, I guess you would say, has
yeah,
really helped a bit. So now there's days during the week I don't always have to come home and record. So instead of having, every single day come home from work, got to record. Now it's like, okay, maybe one day I have to record and one day I do a live stream, but the other 3 days I can just come home, eat dinner, watch a movie, work out, whatever it is. And that
yeah.
schedule has been working better for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick your brain on this because now I got a similar schedule as you. So I'm like, how does Mike do it? So I've thought about doing that exact thing that you said, wake up early Saturday morning when hopefully the whole house is still
Yeah,
asleep.
yeah, that's what it is.
Come
My
down
wife,
here, crank out at least 2 videos, maybe get a movie watched as well. Because that's another thing that goes into it. It's like you got to watch these movies to be able to talk about them. I like doing the haul videos and stuff, but I always feel a little silly. Yeah, I got this movie, I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I got this movie, I haven't watched it yet. But it
See,
is
I've
tough.
been I've been really good on watching my movies, though. I think out of probably any of the collectors you've had on, I've watched most of my collection. I would probably say like 95% of my collection is watched. But that's because I watch
That's
at least one movie a
that's good.
day. Yeah, and when I get the movie in, I just have this like completion anxiety where it's like, okay, before I put it on the shelf, I need to watch it. So once again, just at night, I'll work out and I'll watch the movie. So as long as I get one movie in a day, I've been able to have a pretty good pace on that. And I try not to over get movies now. I've really slowed down on what I'm picking up and when I pick up stuff. So that's helped a little bit too.
So what was it like in the first couple of years? Were you pretty hot and heavy out of the gates? Were you just grabbing anything and everything?
So I was getting a lot of titles I probably shouldn't have been getting because they weren't like my favorites. And I guess probably in the last, I don't know, year or so, I'm like, you know what? I really want to focus on getting what are the movies I'm going to want to rewatch a whole bunch of times, what's really my go tos. But yeah, at first, I would just hear a good review about a movie, see a cool unboxing. I'm like, oh, I need to get that one. Let me pick it up. And I would watch it. But after watching it, sometimes I would say, you know what? Do I really want to watch this a second time or a third time? No, probably not. Why do I have this in my collection? So now I try to research it beforehand, look at trailers. Is this a movie I'm really and that's why I like going to the theater now, because now I've previewed a lot of movies before
Yeah,
I pick those up, those modern ones.
that's what I
So
was trying to say earlier a little bit was that probably has changed your collecting habits a little bit, seeing so many movies in the theaters because now you know what you want to buy and what you don't. At least when it comes to the new movies.
yeah. And so that's what I try to do now. I ask myself, is this a movie that I'm gonna have rewatchability for it? Is it gonna be worth it having it on the shelf? Because I don't want to watch a movie one time and then have it take up space on the shelf. Because we know spacing as collectors is a commodity, right? We only have so much limited space. And I don't want to ever get to the point where it's like, oh, I ran out of space. Now I can't get anything I really do want. And I have
Yeah,
a movie on the shelf. I'm like, I didn't really care for that one. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, are you when you know a 4K is getting ready to come out of like an older movie that you haven't seen, but you think that you're interested? Do you ever like watch it on a streaming service maybe to kind of get that final verdict, or do you like to wait to view it for the first time in 4K?
I should probably stream it, but I think most of the times I do wait for the 4K. But I'll still look up the trailer. I'll still look up information about it, research it a bit. But usually I will want to see it on 4K for the first time. But I wait for the deal. I don't pick it up day one. I wait for those, Amazon day deal at $10. Okay. I'm okay with a blind buy at that point. And that's kind of how I judge it. How much do I want this movie to the price ratio? If it's a super cheap price, I'm more likely to gamble on it because I'm like, okay, if I, wasted $10, whatever, it's fine. I watched it one
Yeah.
time. I got the worth out of it. But I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, let me get this super fancy boutique label, 40, $50. And I watch it one time. I'm like, what the heck? What is this? I'm like, thank
That's
goodness
what
I'm
it's like ordering from Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh, see, I don't even touch Vinegar Syndrome. I learned that is not the boutique label for me. I have 2 Vinegar Syndrome titles, Roadhouse and Drop Dead Fred, and I'm like, that's all I need from them. I don't need anything else from them.
Those are good ones. Those are good ones, especially Roadhouse. That
Oh,
was an
Roadhouse
incredible
was so
4K.
fun. That was my first
I
time
would
watching.
recommend. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Amityville Horror is a
I
good
have
movie.
not seen that one yet, but people keep recommending it.
It's a
So I'll
classic.
check
If
it
you
out.
like The Conjuring, do you like The Conjuring?
I do, yes.
So you probably will think it's slower than The Conjuring, but there would be no Conjuring if it wasn't for Amityville Horror. That's kind of where it comes from. But I think it's a good movie. It's got Margot Kidder in it, Lois Lane and
Oh, yeah.
James Brolin's dad, Josh Brolin.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, sometimes it is easier when the movies are a little bit cheaper because I saw this in the theaters, but Immaculate.
Oh,
I
I
got
like
in
that
this
one.
week.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot, and this was only $14.
I love that price.
It was
Oh,
only $14 because it's Neon. And I think Decal Releasing puts it out, and the director actually did a commentary for it.
oh, wow. Yeah, I
But
saw that deal. I'm like, that's
I
great.
got stop motion this week too, and it was $16. So, but yeah, I'm trying to spend a little bit less money myself. Things got crazy there for a while, and I've actually done way better with my purchasing since I stopped my audit videos. So, but Mike, let's get into a little bit more insight on what makes you tick as a collector. I got some questions I'm going to run through with you. So we've already pretty much covered this, but would you say that you're a day one buyer? Or do you mostly wait for the sale at this point?
Wait for the sell. I need a sell or a deal on it. Yeah.
Is there anything that comes out day one that you have not seen that you're just so drawn to you have to get it? Does that ever happen anymore?
No, not a well, no, I've seen them.
Not
Yeah.
even if it's a nice Steelbook?
No. But I mean if I've seen it and I really like it, like I got the Killer Clowns 4K steelbook, but I've seen that movie before. So I
Okay.
knew I was gonna like it. But I did get that one day one because I'm like, ooh, I don't know if that steelbook's gonna be around forever. But they did an amazing job on that steelbook, and I thought it was a pretty good price. Wasn't it like $30? I'm like,
At
these
one
days
point,
for a
the
steelbook,
Steelbook
I'll
was
take it.
lower than the regular
Yes, and
4K.
I'm like, I'll
Yeah.
take that. I'll take that. I like those kind of deals better than these
Yeah,
$45
that was a great
steelbooks.
Steelbook. I spent $50 because I pre-ordered it off of Scream Factory, not knowing it was going to be on Amazon.
I love
Which
Amazon. Amazon has the best deals.
yeah, I mean, sometimes you never know. Like, are they going to put it on Amazon? Are they not? Like when it comes to the Steelbooks and everything. But I should have known better because that's what they have been doing. But I just went in and got it. But I got it early. That's the perk for ordering from Scream Factory, so I could review it early. But most of the time with Scream Factory, I try to just order it off of Amazon. Like I got RoboCop 2 coming next week. Do you buy mostly mainstream or do you buy a lot of boutiques as well?
I have a mixture of it. I think more now I'm trying to lean more towards the mainstream studio style movies because I think I'll rewatch those more. But I'll get
Yeah.
boutique label stuff like Criterion sale time. Criterion's my go-to. I'll usually pick about 5 titles during a sale month. So yeah, Criterion.
That's one label I will not pick up anything from them until there's a
Oh yeah.
sale.
Only sale time, and that's why I do my pre-game and post-game sale show. I kind of make an event out of it. But yeah, I'll get, about 5 titles so I don't go overboard because there's a lot of Criterion. You can get really wild with that label. But now I found out what titles do I like from Criterion, what decades, what genres. And so I found, okay, these are the ones I like, the more modern ones, or like the 80s comedy type of stuff. The other
Yeah.
stuff, foreign language films, not my cup of tea. And I learned my lesson. I picked up The Seventh Seal, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm never gonna watch this again.
I
Everybody,
liked it, but I don't know. It's almost like, I want to like these movies like other people do. And I wish I could get into that mindset of you and other people, just like so in tune with your taste that you just know what you're not going to like and you're fine with it and you're just not going to try anymore.
yeah, yeah, I learned my
I
lesson.
admire that because I can't do that. Like, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, I need to figure out how to like these movies like everybody else does,
See, it's all subjective though. That's the wonderful thing. Like people that,
Yeah.
once you get into all this, there's so much you're never going to be able to collect everything anyway. There's always going to be more titles released. So once you realize that, you're like, okay, what am I mostly going to enjoy? What am I going to rewatch?
Yeah.
That's what I really want in my collection. But you got to do the research sometimes, because at first I'm like, Seven Still, I saw a few reviews on it. People said it's like the most amazing thing of all time, but I really didn't look into it that much. So I picked it up and I'm like, oh gosh, what is foreign language film? Okay, this is not working for me. So there's stuff on my list where I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna like that. Like silent films. I'm not a silent film person. I learned that.
Yeah.
So I will not pick up silent films anymore. I need talking. I need words in the movie.
They're different. I've liked the few that I've watched, but like you said, like, are these movies that I'm going to rewatch over and over again? Probably not. I mean, those two movies in the Todd Browning set, I'll probably never watch again, but I liked watching them. And part of me likes knowing that I have them in the collection, but yeah, I don't know how much rewatch value they're going to get for sure. But are you somebody that, if you have it in your collection, is rewatch value important to you?
It's the
Or
number one thing.
are you okay with having stuff in your collection that you'll never watch again?
Oh no, I wish I could get rid of that other stuff. It needs to be rewatchable. I mean,
So
those are my
do
favorite
you get rid of
movies.
stuff that you don't like or you don't think you're gonna watch again?
I
You keep it?
should, I should, but I
You
don't
don't
want to
like
go through
selling
the
stuff.
hassle, yeah,
Yeah.
of going to eBay, selling it one by one, paying for the shipping and all that. So that's why I'm even more strict now on what I pick up, because I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
go through that process.
Well, do you ever think to yourself, is maybe 10 years from now I'll watch it and I'll like it? You know, does
No.
that thought ever cross your mind? Or are you just think that you're gonna have the same feeling on the movie 10 years from now and 20 years from now and
Mm.
it'll never change?
So from rewatching movies quite a bit, and I usually rewatch a lot of my stuff. I try to rewatch the movies when I can. I've learned that my opinion rarely changes drastically. Now it might change a little bit. Like I may watch something that I
Okay.
thought was a 2 and it might go up to a 3, or I thought it was a 3, it might go up to a 4, or a 4 to a 5, right? Or it might go down 1. I'm like, oh, I thought it was a 3 before, but now I'm like, oh, it's probably about a 2. So it might adjust one level, but I've rarely ever had where it's like, oh, I thought this was a 1 and now it's a 5. Like I haven't had that experience.
Yeah.
So if it's a
Part of
movie,
me thinks that might happen with Bubba Hotep. That's why I
oh
keep it in the
god,
collection. It's a
man,
1,
see,
maybe it'll be a
I picked
5
that
one
one
day.
up, and that ruined me off of Scream Factory. Now I really take my
You
time.
trusted him before.
Yeah, now I really take my time with Scream Factory. I'm like, okay, let me do some research here. I
I
really
don't
want.
know what your collector club brothers, Tim and Derek, are thinking with that one. They love that movie.
Oh gosh, it's so slow, so boring. Nothing happens. Oh,
I can't look, if you like the movie, you like the movie. I just can't understand how anybody would say that movie's any better than like a 2.5 or a 3
oh
out of
gosh,
5.
it gets a 2 for me, a generous 2.
Yeah, very generous. So what boutique label is your favorite out of
Yeah.
all of them?
Yeah, Criterion for sale just because of the sale months I really love. And they have so many genres and decades to choose from that you really get to choose your path with Criterion, which I love. Other than that, I would probably go Scream Factory just because I think they're more reasonably priced day one, which is nice. And they have really cool steelbooks and different editions. And I like horror movies. So those would probably be my tops. But I'll get some Arrow titles here and there. Shout Select stuff. Paramount Presents when it was worth something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
What about Kino?
Oh yeah. during Kino Lorber sale times, because they actually feel like sales when they're down to
Yeah.
$17, I'll
That's another
usually
one.
pick up like 3
Wait
of them.
for the sales on all those.
Oh, yeah, you have to, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have some good ones in there. They have mainstream stuff too, like Kindergarten Cop and Monster Squad. So those are the titles I lean towards.
Yeah, they do a lot of good stuff. A lot of I'd say they have the most variety of
Oh, yeah.
any label just
They have
because
a
they're
lot.
all over the place. All over the place. Steelbooks or slip covers?
So I really like a nice steelbook, but not with the prices they are at now. The prices have gotten so outrageous. I think I'm done with most steelbooks. Like 90% of steelbooks, I'm okay. I can just go with the slipcover now and be fine. But
Yeah.
when they were reasonably priced, like the good
That's
lines,
why I gave
I love them.
I'm done with them anyway. Like before Lionsgate came along and started hooking me back in with their $20 reasonably priced steelbooks that were awesome and had slipcovers. And I was like, all right, I'm back into collecting steelbooks. And then everybody else started doing cool ones. So, but now it's like I'm not paying $40 for a
$45. Here you
steelbook
go.
at
Take
Walmart.
this $45 one.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done with the Lionsgate steelbook unless it's a movie I really love and I want to get. No, I'm done. I'm done with it now.
Yeah, and they had a crazy price jump too. It was like, okay, 24 to 35. Like it was what? $10 increase. You can't tell me inflation went up that much.
I'll get
Calm
comments
down.
of like, it's inflation, bro. What don't you
Not
get? And
that
I'm like,
much
inflation
inflation.
by
What?
50%. I'm like, not everybody else is inflating like that. What is this? Like this, there is a correlation here between, okay, it was at Best Buy. Now it's at Walmart. Where's the disconnect? Did
Yeah.
Lionsgate just think they could jack it up $15 because they changed stores, or is it Walmart that's initiating this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not getting paid 50% more. So I, it's like, does not
Yeah.
match up. Does not match up at all. But yeah, Walmart. Oh gosh, Walmart having steelbooks now. And I was hopeful at the beginning. I'm like, Walmart could do a really amazing job here. They have a chance to really make this the go-to place for physical media collectors. And now I'm like, they've pretty much failed. I mean, it could
I
be
mean, it's
worse. At
cool.
least
They got the
feel,
they
but
got their flashy steel metal, or what do
yeah,
they call it?
what was it?
Movies wrapped in steel or
Yeah,
metal,
movies wrapped in metal
something.
or something like
Movies
that.
wrapped in metal. It was like cool displays. I still haven't seen like an official display. I just have steelbook sections in my Walmart now. I mean, that's cool to walk in there and see like a steelbook section, but I remember having that back in 2017. Like they had an entire steelbook section then. So we're basically just back to there, but minus like 5 rows that they used to have this as
Oh
well.
gosh.
So it's cool to have the steelbook section back, but they had a 4K section back in the day. They had a Shout Factory, Screen Factory section. Like they had cool stuff back
Now they
then.
have streaming sections. You see this Netflix section,
I'm a
Paramount
kid
present.
on a little freaking Stranger Things 11 plushie. I
Yeah.
can get it. Yeah.
Ah,
Do you do we talked about this a little bit, but do you do any blind buying? It's very calculated,
yeah.
right?
Very calculated blind buys. So I still will pick up a title once in a while, but it has to be a genre I like. It has to be like,
Yeah.
okay, the cast is pretty cool in here. So if it's in my wheelhouse, like I just picked up The Last Dragon 4K steelbook at $23 now. Yay. I got my deal on it. But I looked at the trailer. I'm like, oh, this movie looks awesome. Martial arts, fantasy elements, kind of giving me some Mortal Kombat vibes and a great
I still need
soundtrack.
to watch that.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is probably one I will like. And I watched it yesterday, and I'm like, oh, this was fun, super
I
cheesy.
need to watch that.
Yeah,
I need
it
to
was
watch that.
great. Yeah, I had a good time with it. So that was a blind buy, but I'm like, you know what? It seems in my wheelhouse, and now it's a decent enough price, so I can justify it.
It feels good though when you strike gold like that and you watch something for the first time that you just added to the collection and you love it.
Oh
It's like winning a game of roulette or something,
yeah.
hitting the slot machine jackpot. Okay, do you do a lot of thrifting?
No, there's
Do
not
you
many
go
thrift stores around me. I mean, there's probably Goodwill or Salvation Army, but they don't have much stuff, and it's
you're in the California area, right?
yeah, middle California. So there's not many places for me to go. It's really there's Walmart, and we know how Walmart is. There's
Yeah.
Target, and that's really all there is around me. That's
How close
unfortunate.
are you to LA?
Oh, I'm like 4 hours. 4 hours from
4 hours. Okay, so you're far away.
it. Yeah,
Are you above it or below it?
I'm above it. So I'm like Central California, and LA is Southern. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you don't have a lot of Goodwills and all that kind of stuff.
Not many, a couple, but they don't really have anything there. Yeah, it's just
I'll say it right now because I'll have released the video by the time I put this out. But I went to Goodwill today on my way to the grocery store, like I usually do. And usually I find maybe a few DVDs I might want to add to the collection. But today there was like 30 Blu-rays.
Ooh,
Somebody had just dropped
find.
the collection, and I didn't find like anything great, but I found 9 Blu-rays that I wanted to add to the collection. Some decent stuff in there. So, and they're only $1. So I'm like, hell yeah. Reminded me of the Dollar Tree days. Did you get down on the Dollar Tree back in the day?
So I've been to Dollar Tree a few times, and a lot of times they don't have much there, but when they have the Blu-rays, that's cool. I found a couple good Blu-rays. I mean, like Hardcore Henry for $1. I'll take it on Blu-ray. Why not?
Yeah.
They'll
I
have
never
a
found
few
that
of
one in there. I finally broke down and got that off of Groove, I think, a couple months ago because I really liked that movie for $6. But a lot of people were finding it at Dollar Tree back in the day, and I couldn't find it. But I found some good stuff there. I found Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Fargo, I found at
wow.
Dollar Tree. RoboCop, I found at Dollar Tree back before they had special edition 4Ks. But this is all back when I was first like starting collecting because I was very thrifty in the early days, like going to half price books, and I wasn't buying Blu-rays unless they were like $5 or $6
Oh, yeah.
for a while. I tried to get the best deals I could for a long time. Then I got sucked into the boutiques. Let me ask you this, Mike. What are some movies that you are pining for to get 4K or even Blu-ray upgrades?
That have come out
What's on your wish list?
already? Oh, on my wish list. Man, I feel like I've gotten a lot of the stuff, but maybe just all
Either
the
DVDs you want to
yeah.
see upgraded to Blu-ray or Blu-rays you want to see upgraded to 4K.
Well, I'd probably go every single superhero title out there. If we could get the classic superhero titles, not just the MCU stuff, we have that. But you go back to like Superman and the Mole Men, get a really cool 4K Criterion edition of that one. So if we
Superman and the Mole Man, what's that?
yeah, the black and white one that was like the very original.
I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah, Superman
That's
and
a
the
movie?
Mole Man. Yeah, the black and white one. It was.
I thought the first Superman movie was Superman the movie.
No, there was one before that. I'm sure it was
If my
terrible. I
title
actually
screen went
haven't
away
seen
back
it.
there.
I've only seen clips of the movie, but it would just be cool to have every single superhero title on 4K in the collection because that's my go-to genre. So I would love all of those. Yeah, even like the terrible, what was it? The Doctor Strange back in the day. I think didn't Shout like do a Blu-ray of that or something, but get it on 4K and
they did. It sold out, and then
sold out.
they had to put more in stock.
Yeah.
That's what Shout does. They say it's limited, and then it sells out, and there's we got more.
Yeah. So all those on 4K I would take. I would also take all the John Hughes movies on 4K. Like I think we only
need Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, Breakfast Club doesn't even have a 4K. That's outrageous. Like even things like Curly Sue doesn't have a Blu-ray. I don't think it only has a DVD. So
it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't even.
And I used to love Curly Sue. I watched
DVD.
Curly Sue all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, so I mean, all of those classic ones. I mean, I'm sure there's some 80s slashers out there we still need. I mean, now we're getting Nightmare on Elm Street, but we need all the nightmares, of course, not just the first one. We need all of them now. So yeah, there's definitely stuff out there we need.
What's your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Is it the first?
Oh gosh, I do love the first one. I feel like I'm gonna get heat if I say the one I really like.
No, say it. Freddy's Dead. I like it too.
No, that's not gonna be it. Okay, well, I have to rewatch it. It probably doesn't keep up on rewatch, but I remember I got introduced with like the remake, so I love the remake.
Yeah, come on, Mike. You could have said anything else other than that, and I wouldn't have given you crap. But I have to give you crap for saying the remake.
Introduced to it was through the remake, and so I had a really cool theater experience with it, and just fond memories.
So Jackie Earle Haley is your Freddy Krueger. Is that what you're telling me?
I really like that one, but I do I've seen all of them now plenty of times. I love the first one. That's probably my next go-to. Dream Warriors is really good. I like most of them. Like, I'll even take 4, 5, and 6. I don't have any problems with those. Yeah, they get a little bit more comedic and cheesy, but I can still
Yeah.
be entertained by them. The only one I really probably just don't like is number 2. I don't like number 2 because it makes no sense. Like the dream
Yeah.
rules where he just pops in the real life at the pool party. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, this is not part of
The
the rules.
movie's growing
This is
on me,
weird.
but I'm with you. As a kid, I did not like that movie at all because I always loved Nightmare on Elm Street for the story and the continuity and the characters and just how it progressed. And that was just like such a random movie that I would always skip over. Like
Yeah.
I would watch the first, the third, the fourth, because that just worked as like, and the fifth, like that worked. It was like a 4 movie set. Um, but I like the second one now. It's growing on me, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're right.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
that's the one that just I'm like, ah.
That always irritated me. Always irritated me. The buzz scene in the beginning is incredible, though.
Oh yeah,
Great
that's
scene.
fun.
But
Yeah,
I've always loved Freddy's Dead, though. I really have. I love
it's
Freddy's
fun.
Dead.
It's fun. It's entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I really
easy
do.
on horror slasher though. Like I like that genre, so I enjoy the remakes. I enjoy sequels. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not tough on that genre.
Well, there's some titles from Vinegar Syndrome that you would probably like if you're into slashers because they got a lot of dumb slasher movies like Madman. I think you would like Madman.
Okay,
That's a recommendation I can give you.
man.
If you like Friday the 13th, you would like
Oh
Madman.
yeah.
It's like a giant dude who like kills people with an axe.
See,
It's pretty
I
cool.
don't know though because I just saw In a Violent Nature in the theaters, and everybody was saying wonderful things about that one.
Well,
And
that's different.
it's
That's
very similar to Friday the 13th, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm hating
but that's like POV, right? Like that's like from
it's
his
like
perspective
it's
or
third
whatever.
person perspective following him and stuff, but I'm like, it's so
Man,
boring and just like
that sounds
way low
boring. Yeah.
budget. It was a lot of walking.
Yeah, I think you would like Madman just because it's a camp slasher, so it has that vibe, and you got all the the characters in it that are kind of remind you of like the same type of characters from Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Um, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I'm confident in saying that. I like it. Um, what do you like the most about collecting, and what do you like the least?
wow. Well, most I would have to say just having it on the shelf, something that's reliable, that that's not going to be altered in any way. You can watch it whenever you want. You don't need an internet for it. You just plug it into the player and it's ready to go. Like I said, streaming gave me so many issues. Just finding stuff on streaming, you couldn't find stuff half the time. When you found it, it was terrible quality. It would always pause. So I just want to be able to watch a movie I want to watch. So that's why I like collecting it. I like
Understandable.
having it there. Yeah. And I know nothing's gonna happen to it. It's gonna last a long time. And yeah, so that's probably the best part of collecting. Worst part, space, finding spacing for it. That's always tough. Organizing it, and then of course cost. Can get expensive.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I love collecting. It's just something about it. It's just having these movies around you. It just makes you feel good.
It does. It does make you feel good. I want to get in some general, just like movie questions with you. What's your favorite genre outside of superhero? Because I'll talk about superhero with you a little bit later. What's your favorite genre other than superhero films?
I mean, it would be the horror slashers. That would
Okay.
definitely be my
Okay.
go-to because I think it's closely related to superhero films. I know nobody else sees it that way, but I'm like, what? These genres are so similar. You got the good person trying to fight the overpowered, strong villain, and that's the movie. It's the same thing. So I've always
Yeah, I
loved
mean,
slashers. Yeah.
Freddy, Jason, Michael, they're
Yep.
essentially super villains. The only thing is you don't usually in those movies have like a super powered somebody that's opposing them.
Yep.
It's usually a regular person that's going up against them. That's why, Nightmare on Elm Street was so cool
Oh
because
yeah.
you would actually have protagonists or final girls that could take on Freddy in the dream world and they would have powers to be able to, I mean, in Dream Warriors, they all had powers, but that's always what made that franchise so cool to me as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Your favorite actor?
Ooh. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio is probably my favorite of all time. He's so good. He's so good at what he does. So,
Yeah. What's your favorite Leo movie?
ooh, I know it's gonna sound basic, but Titanic. I love Titanic. It's such a great movie.
He's good in that. He's good in that. That movie pretty much put him on the map too. So it's classic DiCaprio. Favorite director?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's always a tough
Yeah.
question to answer.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you got James Cameron. That's one that pops into the mind. I love James Cameron movies. Oh man, I might have to lean towards him right now. Oh, but then Christopher Nolan directed some of my favorite films of all time, but then also some of my least favorite films of all time. So I have a love hate relationship with Christopher Nolan.
Has Cameron done anything that you don't like?
That I've seen. I think I've liked everything I've seen from him. So I might have to go James Cameron then. Yeah, that might be the
Yeah.
one. But I mean, Quentin Tarantino. Oh, he's done so
That's
many
my
good
go-to answer just because like every movie of his I love. Even the ones that aren't as traditionally great as some of his other ones, like Death Proof, I still love that movie.
The only one that I didn't like that I've seen from him is The Hateful Eight. I was kind of lukewarm on, but he's done so many other good ones. Like,
See, I
uh,
love The Hateful Eight. Every time I watch The Hateful Eight, like it moves up for me. Like we talk about movies changing over time. Like
that's one I probably
I
need to
liked it a lot
rewatch.
when I
Yeah, I've
first.
only seen it once.
Yeah, you just have to. I don't know. You just have to really get into it. It's a quiet movie, but it has such a nice build to it. I feel like, um, and great characters. I like one location setting movies though. So
Ooh, yeah. Oh, and you know what? Oh, Steven Spielberg. Why did I say Steven Spielberg? So
Steven
Steven
Spielberg's
Spielberg,
usually the
number one.
go-to,
Yeah.
but I struggled to say Spielberg because I haven't seen his entire filmography.
Oh, yeah. He has so many movies I haven't either. Not even
So
close.
when I'm looking at Steven Spielberg, the whole picture, how do you weigh that? Like
Yeah.
he's made some of my all-time favorite movies and movies that are probably mean more to me than anybody else. But he's also made a lot of movies that I haven't seen, and he also made the BFG, which wasn't too great.
Yeah, that's for the kids, though. You know.
Yeah, but he shoots more, than Tarantino and Cameron. Like Cameron's got what, 8 movies? Tarantino's got 10. Well, he would say 9 because he counts Kill Bill as one movie, but um, they've made less movies. Like Martin Scorsese too has made a
Oh,
lot of
he's great
movies.
too. Yeah.
I
Um,
haven't seen a lot of his movies still. I've probably only seen half of his movies.
yeah, that's me too. And then I also like Hitchcock as well. I mean, all the movies I've seen
Oh
of him.
yeah, you're big on Hitchcock. You're big on
Oh yeah,
Hitchcock.
I've seen probably like 40 Hitchcock films, so I've seen quite a bit.
Yeah, Hitchcock's great. I don't think I've seen 40. I've probably seen 20 to 25 at this point. Maybe 30 because I watched all those box sets and some other movies here and there. So pretty close maybe. Um Favorite franchise.
Ooh,
That's not superhero.
that's not. I know. I was like, oh, can I say like the Dark Knight trilogy and all that? Oh, well, then I have to go with like horror slasher, and I'd probably go Halloween at that point.
Okay. So it's always weird with franchises because how do you classify like a superhero franchise? Would you
Like
say
the MCU.
Batman is a franchise? And can you count like all the Batman movies? Or would you count like the certain like eras of them?
Yeah, that's tough. So I would say probably Batman 89 to Batman and Robin is its own franchise. And then you have like
It's
the
its
Dark
own the
Knight
Schumacher
trilogy.
Burton
Yeah.
era.
And then you have the DC extended universe stuff. That's its own franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's tough.
What would Howard the Duck be in?
Howard the Duck's great. Yeah.
It's its own franchise. There should have been like 8 Howard the Duck movies.
You sh- they should do more Howard the Duck movies. They had an opportunity in the MCU to give us a good standalone Howard the Duck movie, and we just haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet.
And then you have franchises within like the MCU. You could say Captain America is a
Oh,
franchise.
Captain
You could
America is
say
the best trilogy by far. 100%.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a franchise within the MCU. I agree with you. I think Captain America is the best superhero trilogy ever. I'd put it above the Dark Knight trilogy.
See, Dark Knight's my number one because Dark Knight Rises is my favorite movie of all time. The Dark Knight
What?
is
The
my second.
Dark
I
Knight
love Rises. I
Rises?
love Rises. I
Rises.
can watch that
I
all
like
the
Rises
time.
though. I do like
That
Rises.
opening scene with the plane, oh my gosh! When I saw that on the big screen, I'm
That
like,
has to be a nostalgia thing though. How you were you 18 when you saw that? 17? High school?
yeah, it was definitely high school, and it was like when they had the midnight premieres and stuff, so it was like a big event.
And you saw The Dark Knight, I guess, when you were in middle school.
Oh yeah, 8th grade summer. I actually
Yeah.
saw it in Europe, so that's why I remember.
Oh,
Italian
you're in Europe.
subtitle. Yeah.
Damn. So you put Dark Knight Rises above The Dark Knight.
Yep, just by a hair. And the reason why is I like the Bruce Wayne character arc more in Rises. If I was just judging the villain, yeah, I would go The Dark Knight because Joker, Heath Ledger, of course. But I love the Bruce Wayne character arc. It's kind of like the Rocky movies for me,
Yeah.
where he gets broken down to his very core, his
I like
back's
that
broken,
too.
and then he has to train and get out of the cave and the rising. I love that type of character arc. So I'm like, it's a
Yeah.
Rocky out of the Dark
I'm
Knight.
gonna be honest with you, Mike. I think that The Dark Knight Rises, I've said this before in the past, but I haven't said it for a very long time. I do think Dark Knight Rises is a better movie than The Dark Knight.
I love to hear it.
I do think I think that you're right. But Heath Ledger as the Joker is just like
So good.
God tier, like just one of the best characters ever put to screen. So like I would still rather rewatch The Dark Knight, but I do think The Dark Knight Rises is a better movie. But I like Batman Begins too. It's a great trilogy. It's a great trilogy, but like Captain America, man.
Oh, so good.
The first Avenger is severely underrated.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's one of the best MCU movies that nobody ever wants to put in their top 5, but it's in my top 5. And Winter Soldier might be my number 1 MCU movie. And Civil War, it's incredible. Like that, I saw it twice in the theaters, and I thought it was amazing both times. Loved it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not a bad one in the bunch there. Like you said, first Avenger, that's the best MCU origin story for any character. Winter Soldier is great, fantastic villain, and Civil War is pretty much an Avengers movie, but it's one of the best.
His trilogy cheats a little bit because the third one's an Avengers movie, but
he does it so good, so it's okay. It's fine.
But it's still a great movie. Still a great movie. All right, let's see. Do you do a lot of streaming? Do you have all the streaming services?
Yeah, I have all the major ones, and occasionally I'll stream. Like I was streaming today. I was watching the history of sitcoms, which was pretty fascinating. But I don't feel good when I stream.
I was gonna say, you say the way you're saying that, it sounds like you feel dirty when you.
I feel dirty when I stream. I'm like, oh, why am I streaming right now? Because the quality, the image is not good. Like it is not. It's not good. Wherever I watch it on, it's fine, but I don't know. It feels like the fast food of movie watching. You just don't feel good when you do it. It's convenient, quick. But it's not.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to, they make you because that's the only way you can watch something. Like I'll be streaming this Sunday nights at 9 or 10. I don't know when it comes on, but House of the Dragon season 2 comes back, and I love that show.
See, that's one I haven't gotten into. I think I watched the first episode or 2, and I'm like, it's not capturing my attention like
Game of Thrones.
I love the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And then it started to lose me, and then once we hit 7th and 8th, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Oh man, you were out at 7? I love
7. 7 is where I started to see the decline because it was such a short season. I want a little bit more here.
There's some episodes in 7 that I think is like the best of the show, but I don't think it ended on a strong note.
Yeah. And then once we hit the 8th season, I'm like, man, I'm glad I binged all of these because I was late to the party on it. So I was just binging all of them through. So that's what I have to do with series. So maybe
if you only got through 1 or 2 on House of Dragon, I'm begging you to try it again. And you have to get through episode 6.
Oh man.
I'm not saying that to me the show was great, like pretty much the whole time, but there's some things that happen in that show. It's different than Game of Thrones. Okay. It's just different. Like there's time jumps and it just moves quicker. Like things change a lot faster in the show. So I think that you need to keep watching it.
I'm always worried with the TV shows, though.
There's a huge time jump, and every character changes. Like the cast changes, like at episode 4 or 5. So I think that you need to, because I loved the characters and I love the actors that played the characters up until the time jump. And then when the time jump, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can get used to these new characters. And they were even better. Like
Ooh,
the
okay.
actors that played them were even better. So I think the show like gets better and better as it goes.
Better.
I just think you have to get past the first couple episodes. But
Man.
I'm excited for the second season. I love that show.
Yeah. I wish I was more into TV. Like I don't watch too much TV, unfortunately. Like I'll
It's a
watch
time sink.
sitcoms. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
watch sitcoms because you don't have to watch them in order. You can watch whatever and just have a good short 30-minute show, which is fantastic. And then a couple reality competition shows I'll watch, but that's about it for TV. I don't watch too many like heavy
I
drama.
don't watch it by myself. Like it has to be a show my wife wants to watch for me to watch TV. If she's not into it, I won't just randomly watch a show on my own just because I don't have time.
Yeah.
But we've always watched TV together. She likes that more than movies usually.
Oh yeah, that's my wife too. She's a TV person. She'll blow
Yeah.
through the seasons like super quick. I'm like, how do you just started this show a week ago and you're already like done with the series? How'd you do it?
Did you get into Stranger Things?
Oh yeah, I like
Oh.
Stranger Things. Yeah, I've loved
Yeah.
all
I
those.
think
seasons.
everybody likes Stranger Things. I haven't met too many people that doesn't. So why is physical media important to you? Owning movies physically.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's preserving movie history. You need to have it so you can watch it because you don't know what's going to happen to it later on. And we've already discussed the pitfalls of streaming. You can't find everything on streaming, even stuff they've promised, like Disney Plus. You're going to be able to see every Disney title ever on here. And they never fulfilled that promise ever. There's so much stuff that's a Disney title that you can't find on Disney. So just to be able to own the movie, you can watch it when you want, and you have it. That's important, right? If you love the movie, you need to own it. You need to have it.
I remember when the thing started and they said every single Disney movie is going to be on here. They didn't have the Mighty Ducks on there.
Oh,
until,
yeah.
like, next July or something. I'm like, what the hell? I wanted to watch the Mighty Ducks.
So many popular titles you think would be on there, they don't have. And that's all the streaming services. Like even when I go for streaming a movie and I look for, okay, let me check out all the comedies that are on here. I'm feeling in a comedy mood. And they might have like 20 comedies on each streaming platform. I'm like, this is not enough.
Yeah.
This is not enough.
You know what's funny though? Those dumbasses at Disney, they probably think they do have all their movies on there because most of them don't know their history. You know, people that work there now don't even know what the hell Disney came out with probably in the 90s or even the early 2000s at this point. You're like, oh, what we do, the MCU and the Pixar movies?
Got the
That's
Star
all we're
Wars,
responsible
got
for?
the MCU.
Star Wars? Yeah, that's all they know. That's all they know. Do you collect any other types of media other than movies?
No.
Records?
No vinyl records, no CDs.
You still got your game collection?
Oh yeah, I still have my game collection. I haven't played them in forever, but yeah, I still have my PlayStation games. And
You ever done a video on them?
no, I've never done a video on them actually. No, because I'm like, that's not my channel's focus. So if I start pulling out video games, they're probably like, "What the heck is this? That's not a movie."
Well, you got don't you have a Patreon?
I do have a member service either through Patreon or just YouTube membership. So
Okay.
yeah,
You
and
can put it on your Patreon or YouTube member or something like that.
oh yeah. Yeah, if I get some high tier memberships in there and people start requesting like, "Oh, show me your entire video game collection," or I want this type of genre shown off or whatever, I take care of my members. So my members request that type of stuff, done. Yeah, absolutely.
So what you're telling me is if I want it, I have to subscribe to the Patreon. I have to request it. I'll do it, Mike.
You got to be a mega movie master. A mega movie master gets one video topic choice a month.
Okay.
In addition to shout outs and exclusive videos. So yeah, if you say, hey, I want this specific live stream on my favorite director of all time, I'm like, boom, I'll get it set up next month. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Is that where most of the live stream ideas come from?
No, because I don't have really any high tier members right now. I have.
I was gonna say you usually focus your live stream surrounding like the newer releases that come out most of the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do so many different live streams. Like I'll do recommendation ones. I'll do split the room games. What
Yeah.
else do I do? I don't know. I do so many live streams.
A lot of fun live content.
Yeah.
Go subscribe to Mega Mike if you
Yeah.
haven't already. Well, Mike, we'll be wrapping up here shortly, but I got a few other questions for you. What is your thoughts on the state of physical media as it stands right now? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's ending anytime soon?
So physical media is going to be around for a long time, at least another couple decades. Will there be a decline in collectors? Yes, from year to year, I'm sure, because as older generations pass on and we have younger generations that aren't movie fans, once again, we already discussed like that's a problem. They're not movie fans. So I don't think they're going to the theaters either. Like I think theaters will
Yeah.
probably be gone in, 3 to 5, maybe 10 years, and you'll just have theaters and major cities. Same thing with like
Oh, you think the theaters are going away?
oh, I think theaters
5,
will be
10 years?
gone within a decade. In the major cities, they'll have them like in LA's and New York's and your Chicago, right? Like the big cities, you'll have theaters because they have the
Man.
population to support it. But like in my town, that's not really a major city. There's nobody at the theater when I go. Like I'll be in a theater sometimes opening weekend and I'm the only one there. Like, how
Yeah.
is the theater surviving right now? This is not
Yeah.
going to work. And I feel that way with physical media. I think once again, there'll be less and less collectors every year, but there'll always be a company that wants to cater to those collectors because they don't want to leave money on the table. So you'll at least have the boutique labels catering to the collectors out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure studios will, do what they can. Some studios do more than others. We already know that the issues with Disney and all that stuff. So there'll still be physical media of some sort. Once again, it's a niche market. We know that we're a small market out here of
People
collectors.
of these studios and these companies, like people are going to have to get together at some point and figure this out because everybody stands to lose everything if people don't start collaborating and coming together. Like it feels like physical media, streaming, the theatrical experience, they're all working against each other.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, everybody's got different goals and different things that they want to do until they realize that they can work together and probably profit 10 times more than they are now. Like nothing's going to get fixed.
Well, they used to have the perfect setup, and they need to go back to that. Like, why shrink the theatrical window down to
Oh, that's
2
killing it. That's
weeks
killing it.
now? Like, come on. If you only have a movie theater, 2 weeks showing a movie, people are going to wait. They'll get it on
Yeah.
physical media later on. There's
You know
no
who doesn't have a streaming service? The one major studio that doesn't have one?
Sony doesn't, right? Sony just
Sony, and they did Bad Boys for Life or Bad
Yep.
Boys Ride or Die,
There
and that
you go.
movie's
And
killing it
people
because
went and
people
saw it.
are not conditioned to expect
Exactly.
that movie on
Yeah.
streaming.
And that's what they need to get back to. Like, let's go to a traditional theatrical window of 3 to 6 months. Then you can go pay on demand and all that for another 6 months, and then go to physical and then streaming like 3 years
Yeah.
down the line. Why not? Like, why not do it that way? Why do you need it on streaming? Oh, a month later, it's on streaming.
Another thing about Sony, they already got Bad Boys up for pre-order. They've done shown you the artwork. So they're already planning the physical release, They're
It's
getting you excited about that.
yeah, way
Now
too.
it's going to cost you like $60 to get the Steelbook, but that's just Sony at this point.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's way too fast. So they need to fix it, and they need to fix it fast because right now they've just conditioned everybody to, they can wait. They can wait. It's not a big deal now to go see movies. And back in our day, it was a big deal. Like, oh, you want to see a movie opening weekend? Like, you got to wait in line. You got those midnight showing. It's an event. You had to plan this stuff. Now it's just, if I missed it, I'll just watch it on streaming in a month. Who cares?
Catch it on streaming. Yeah, I mean, you got Netflix that they're solely focused on streaming now. They don't care about physical media. They used to release stuff on physical media.
Oh yeah, Stranger
That's nice.
Things, season 1 and 2. They had those nice 4K.
I mean, they got started as a physical media company. Like they were renting out physical media. It just feels like I feel like there's so much money. Like if Netflix opened up a theater or something. What
And
if
that's
Netflix opened up a theater and
might
debuted
need
their
to
movies
happen.
in theaters?
Yeah, that might need to happen where the studios and the streaming services own their own theaters. If they change the legislation on that to allow that to happen, maybe they will care more about the theater experience and be able to control it a little bit more. Maybe that could do something.
Yeah. Maybe it would fail. Maybe it would fail. I don't know, but I just feel like if
They need to do
Netflix
something different.
had like a theatrical experience and they had like a movie theater of their own where they played their own movies and, you know, they wouldn't release them day and date on Netflix. They would put it in the theater. And then after 2 months, it would show up on Netflix, you know, something like that. And I think that they could be doing so much more for physical media as well. I think they could have a physical media section on their website where they sold their like nice boutique style editions or just regular editions of their films and TV shows. Like I just think there's a lot of money on that table they're missing out on. But
Yeah, I mean, they're not really making a profit, at least last time I checked,
it's
because they
just extra revenue, right? I mean, they own these movies,
Yeah.
so that's just extra revenue. You're only even if they did manufacture on demand, like they'd still be making money.
Yeah,
But
because they're spending a lot of money for these movies, and they're not really getting a lot of value out of it right now. So they got
and
to
who is
change.
subscribing to Netflix for Atlas? Like nobody. You could put out a physical 4K of that, you know. Would it sell 10 or 20 copies? I don't know, but you could
Make it
do it.
$5, you know.
Yeah, people are subscribing for Stranger Things and just all the other content you got. Like they got so much on there. But
Yeah, they make good original shows for sure, but yeah, their movies
yeah,
are that weak spot.
yeah, for sure. So in closing, is there any 4Ks or Blu-rays that you're looking forward to coming
Ooh,
out soon? What's on your radar?
I'm trying to think now. I'm like, what's coming up? I feel like I've gotten all the heavy hitters recently. That's a good. What's coming up, Ken? You know probably
Do
better
you,
than me.
do you feel like it's been a bit of a slow year?
It's
Maybe not
been
with
kind
you.
of slow, yeah.
Maybe it has been for you personally because you just wanted to change your
Yeah.
habits and slow down in collecting in general. But do you feel like, because you look at what's coming out and stuff like
Mhm.
that too, and do you feel like it's been a little bit of a down year compared to last year?
Oh yeah, it's been a lot slower. I mean, we've gotten some big titles like the Cameron 4Ks, and of course, we
Yeah.
just had the Killer Clowns, but not as many new releases. And it's very fluctuating week to week. There'll be some weeks where there's nothing. You're like, what the heck? There's nothing to
Yeah.
pick up this week. So there's a few titles that have been great, I'm sure. Like, I still need to get The Crow. People say good things about that one. I need to pick that up still. Um,
Have you seen The Crow?
I have seen The Crow before. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It wasn't
Okay.
one that I like super loved to where I'm like, oh, I need the Steelbook day one. But
Yeah. Yeah. And people are still finding those steelbooks in Walmart.
I'm not finding nothing
Yeah.
at Walmart. Man, I went to Walmart today and they didn't have even the new releases. Nothing was stocked or ready to go. I'm like,
They
what
never
are
do a mob location
empty
either.
spaces? Oh man, that was rough there.
Yeah. 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 This year to me has there's definitely been some good stuff, but it's been a little bit of a disappointment for sure.
I think Criterion has a couple cool releases coming up, right? Like Risky Business is supposed to get a 4K. I haven't seen that, and I
That's
want
in
to.
July, isn't it?
I
Isn't
think
Risky
so.
Business in July?
I hope so. Then it's sale time. That'll be nice. I wanna.
I
I want.
think so. Yeah, I watched Risky Business right after they announced that. That's a good movie. It's a good movie. I like it. It's different. I think when I went into it the first time, I was expecting like Ferris Bueller's Day Off with Tom Cruise,
Mhm.
and that's not what the movie is. It's a lot darker than that.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's good to
but
know.
it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Um, but Mike, we've reached the end, man. We've reached the end. Collectors of the World, episode 5. Do you have anything you want to tell the people before we go off the air today?
Well, thank you, Ken, for having me on. I appreciate it. So that
Absolutely,
was
man. It was a long time coming. It was a
I
long
know.
time coming.
And then, yeah, for the audience out there, if you haven't stopped by the channel, feel free to, check out a video, enjoy the content. There's plenty of content there. So tons of physical media stuff, tons of theater stuff, live shows. There's something if you love movies, there's something for you on the channel. So click subscribe, hit the notification bell. And once again, more importantly, watch the content and you'll have a great time. And we'll just chat and watch some movies.
Yeah, Mike does a great job on his channel. I definitely highly recommend you check him out. I mean, you've been going strong for 3 years, and multiple videos a week. I appreciate the work ethic, Mike. The work you put into your channel. You do a good job, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And I will have all your links down below in the description. So hit the subscribe button. Are you close to any milestones?
I'm almost at 2,200. If that's a milestone,
It counts. Let's get you to 2,500.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah, go subscribe. Everybody that's watching right now, go subscribe. Get Mike to 2,500 by the end of the week that this video comes out, which I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come out, but hopefully it'll come out soon. But thank you all for watching. Everybody that's watching this video, hit the comments, like the video. Did I say that right? Hit the like video. Hit the like button. I haven't got much sleep lately. Hit the like button. Comment down below whatever you want to comment. Anything that we discussed here today. And we'll see you guys later.